asking friends to come. Yeah, down there, this will come. But they have no peaceful message. Online students, how many students we have there? 11, right? Okay, so I hope I am audible and I have to share the screen. Try to go. It's your next. Exactly. Also, okay, so if you go to the LMS, today I uploaded the group assignment. So please read it and try to find the members of your group and start doing the assignment. That's what I want to tell you. And also, I uploaded the e-version of one of the keyboards, the Loudon's book. For additional readings, you can use this book. So this is the book that I'm using as the main reference. So even for your group assignments, I selected many cases from this book. So I will explain you how you have to do the group assignment. And this is the main reference. This is freely available online and I just downloaded and uploaded to the site. So all the lessons that we discuss are there and there are many more lessons, but according to the content of the course, I am discussing only the relevant lessons. And if you find anything difficult to understand, please go to the relevant lesson and read. In detail, it explains everything. Okay. So this is the book, Management Information System, Managing the Digital Firm, Kenneth Loudon and Jane Loudon. So here, this includes everything, right? Yes. So please use this book for your additional readings, and if you want any additional note to add it into the PowerPoint I have given to you, please use it. Right. So this is the group assignment. And this time, even though at the beginning and also at your course outline, it is mentioned that for your group assignment, 10% of the marks allocate for the report. I decided not to assign marks for your report this time. So it's my experience, as I know. So if I ask you to make the report, you just do it for the sake of submitting the report. So last time I want to upload it in that assignment. they reached the presentation really well. But when it comes to the report, that was just a report and maybe concentrate on some of the sites. So it's wasting your time, your effort, and also it wastes my time. So I decided to allocate total 30 marks for the group presentation. So you have to be very serious on uh, making the content of the presentation and also the way you do the presentation. Here I will change this one for group presentations 30 marks. And accordingly, I have given here instructions after individual assignment. Today I added one folder that includes all details about your group assignment. Okay. So here, as I promised, I prepared the group list. And when I was obtaining data, I noticed that there are 108 students, right? So, and also thinking of the weight of the assignment, I thought of not allocating 10 members for one group, right? So if I assign 10 members for one group, sometimes there can be some free riders. So I decided to assign 8 members for each group, but there are additional 4 students, so only for 4 groups, I have assigned 9 members. So there are 9 members for 4 groups, and for the rest, 8 members. Right? So I only could obtain emails from the LMS. You may find the contact numbers and make your own groups. Right? According to the student number order, I created groups. So this is uploaded at the LMS. Please leisurely find the group and then make your own groups and start the assignment. So this is the group assignment, group list. So accordingly, we have 13 groups. 13 groups. And I'm thinking of having presentations from 7th week onwards. Right? So today, these are 4th week. You have 3 more weeks to do the assignment. And first 2 groups, 1 and 2, will be taken on 7. Right? So here, group number 1 and 2, group number 1 and 2, you have to do your presentations on 7th week. So now we are at 4th week. Today is 4th week. You have 5th, 6th, and 7th. 3 more weeks. So it's not a big, you don't have extreme to do. Sorry, this is the week. 4th week of our lectures, because last week I took 2 sessions. So according to the session plan, now we are in 4th week. We have 10 more sessions, right? So I will have to take 2 other sessions from your tutorial time. 6 weeks. Okay, then no problem. Then we will have another day. So when the university, if the university gives any holiday, that's okay. And then we get an additional day for that. And anyway, I will not mention the day because we can't say the date, exact date. I'm saying about the week. And the Tavadahari, Patel Saki, the Api Hatharin Saki, in the Laban Saki, in subject in Puluan. It is not a Saki Gananda. එතකොට පස්සෙන්ලා තියෙන්නේ ඊළඟ සතිය. ඒ වගේ 7 වෙනි වීක් එකේ එනවනේ LMS එකේ. මම ඒකයි මේකේ දින දැම්මේ නැත්තේ. දින දාන්න බෑ. මේ වගේ. අපි ඉන්නේ දැන් week 4 එකේ. ඒ වගේ 7th week එකේ මම Dropbox එක දාන්නම්. ඔක්කොටම Dropboxes ටික දාන්න. 6th 7th week එකේ තමයි ගන්න. Okay, so the assignment is so you have group list. This is your task. I have given 13 mini cases here, right? There are 13 mini cases, 2-page cases. I will teach you today how to analyze a case study. And there are 13 mini cases, and you have to find the relevant case. Say, for example, case 1 for group 1. We have 13 groups, 13 cases. Find your case. And you are required to analyze the given case with the knowledge you obtained through the lectures and additional readings. So, each of those cases relates to one of the lectures that we discussed or that you learn, maybe concepts and the area. So, with the knowledge of that, you have to analyze the case, and if you need any additional readings, you can read and get additional knowledge, and you have to provide the reference. And you have to prepare a PowerPoint of maximum of 15 slides, including your analysis, giving special attention to the case study question. In each of these cases, there are case study questions. So this is one case. So it's a mini case, and at the end of the case, you have few questions. So you have to go through the questions and analyze the case, giving answers to those questions, right? And then prepare a presentation. So you can decide the areas and the topics of the presentation. So don't take the question as it is. So it's not nice, as it's not writing a report. It's a presentation. So giving answers to questions, you have to do it in whatever the innovative way. ඔයගලන්ට කැමති විදිහකට කරන්න අවශ්‍ය මට කේස් එක ඇනලයිස් කරලා අර ප්‍රශ්න වලට උත්තර එන විදිහට presentation එක තියෙනවා. You are free to decide the topics and contents of the presentation. Please provide references if you follow anything, and also add the separate slide to mention the contribution of each member to the group assignment. I want the contribution of each member. So you have the chance to add additional 2 slides. So these 15 for the content of the presentation, and additional 2 slides you can add for references and the contribution. Put the list of group members and put the contribution genuinely. Okay, because I want everybody to engage with this activity. I'm not asking you to meet physically and do this. You have a lot of online platforms. You can join at least 5-10 minutes daily and just have a discussion. Maybe assign tasks among the group and do it. And finally have an overall discussion. Read separate areas and prepare the PowerPoint. And so I don't want to know it should not be very serious and a big presentation. That's why I limited number of slides of 50. පහළවක් ඇති හොඳටම ඒක අතුලට ඒක analyze කරලා present කරන්න. So that is the group assignment. And so you have cases given. As we have 13, if we take 2 groups per day, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we will take 8 groups and then again 5 groups the remaining. And I will take one additional day. Take the concentrations of those groups. Now, in there I'm taking another session to have a revision. On that day, I will take those presentations. Okay. Okay, fine. So that's about your group assignment. I think it's clear. Do you have anything to get clarified? One minute. This way again. Honey, group assignments කරාද? තියනවද? ඒ වන්නේදී කරන්නේ. group සදාන්නේ කරන්නේ එච්චර අමාරු නෑ. මොකද කේස් එකක් දෙන්නේ. ඔබ කොහොමද ඔයගලන්ගේ කේස් ස්ටඩිස් කියන්න පුරුදු වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක group එකක් විදියට කතා වෙලා එතකොට ඇනලයිස් කරන විදි වෙනස්. මොකද ඉන්ඩිවිජුවලි පර්සනලි කේස් එකක් ඇනලයිස් කරනවා වගේ නෙමෙයි. group එකක් එකතු වෙලා ඔබ කරනකොට different ideas you get. So just to support you, I will take another 5 minutes to tell you how you analyze a case study. So this is not mainly for doing the assignment, right? This is to support you to write an answer for a question which is given on mini case study. So at your final examination, decide this yet. Sometimes you may have a small case. So we will be at the end of the course. I will decide and I will let you know if I need your case. So you have to learn how to analyze this kind of mini case study. So what do you mean by a case study? Case. It's a kind of incident happened. So simply as we are business students, business management students, the cases that we are having are some of the incidents happen at business organization. Company වල වෙලා තියෙන මොනවා හරි දෙයක්. Maybe it's a kind of success story of a company. Say for example, they have come up with a new product. So the success story of that product development is given you as a case study. Or maybe it's a kind of failure that the company experienced. So for example, if any company started implementing an ERP system for them, and if they, had to went through a rigorous process and it became a failure, that may be given you as a case study. So it's a kind of story about something happened at the organization. Normally business cases are like that. And when it comes to case studies, they are different levels. So these 1 to 2 page cases are called as mini cases. 40 cases, mini case. Then overall started final exam එකේදී ඔයගොල්ලෝ තියෙන case study එකක් නෙමෙයි. ඒකින් එකක් නෙමෙයි. ඒක ඇවිල්ලා pre-scene දීලා ඊළඟට ඒවත් analyze කරලා එහෙම තියෙන ලොකු එකක්. එතකොට business case එකක් ගත්තත් නෙමෙයි. business case සමාජයක ලොකු සිද්ධියක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So this is this guidance is just for you to analyze a mini case, small cases that you find in examination papers or in any real world scenario. Right? Okay, so, and it gives students the opportunity to understand the practical situations. As management students, to learn about those incidents happen practically, these cases help us. That's why there are a number of cases given in these textbooks. And the book here was the case. That may be textbook එක මම ඒකයි ඔයගලන්ට දැම්මේ. මම මෙතන දාලා තියෙන cases, mini cases 13 පොතෙන් ගත්තේ. එතන තියෙන cases 50ක් විතර පොතේ. හැම පාඩමකටම classroom discussion කියලා case එකකුයි තව at the end of the session තව ටිකක් ලොකු case එකකුයි කියලා. ඒකේ ඒ වගේ තමයි මේකේ application එක ඔයාලා ඉගෙන ගන්න. So when you do this assignment, you will understand how to analyze a case. එහෙම ඉගෙනගෙන ඇත්තටම මේක company එකකට join වෙලා වැඩ කරද්දී every day you face these kind of cases and small projects. So how do you make decisions? That experience you gain by analyzing case. This is all about decision making. Case එකක් analyze කරනවා කියන්නේ වෙනම මොකක්ද නෙමෙයි. It's all about decision making. ඊටම ගන්න. තියෙන තොරතුරු අධ්‍යයනය කරලා ගැටලුව මොකක්ද කියලා අඳුරගෙන විකල්ප අඳුරගෙන හොඳම විකල්පේ මොකක්ද කියලා යොදන්න කරනවා. ඇයි මේක හොඳයි කියන්නේ කියලා to provide your own justifications with the knowledge that you have. So that's simply analyzing a case. So here, case study analysis must not merely summarize the case. So this is what our students do. When we give a small case at the examination paper, they just summarize it. The particular, you know. So that is not analyzing the case study. So when you analyze a case study, there are few steps. So mainly in this note, it is given as 5, but you can have your own way of analyzing it, but considering these areas. First thing, identify the most important facts surrounding the case. So this is all about analyzing the background of the company. So in your case, for your group assignment, you have to first have a very good understanding of the company and its background. Okay. Right. So first, you have to identify most important information about the company or the business. If anything is mentioned about the company, you have to read them carefully and understand. Then you can decide whether this company, you can get an idea about the level of the company. Level means when we consider an organization, there may be different levels of their maturity. There are some companies at their early stages. Some are at the mature stage. Some are at the stage of decline. So when you propose something, you have to think of the level or the maturity of the organization as well. And අපි යෝජනා කරන උත්තරයක් declining stage එකේ ඉන්න company එකකට අපි propose කරන එකයි booming stage එකේ ඉන්න කෙනෙක්ට කියන එකයි දෙකක්. maturity එකේ ඉන්න කෙනෙක්ට කියන එකයි දෙකක්. වෙනස් ඒවා. ඒ නිසා you have to have a very good understanding about the background of the business. Then identify the key issue or issues. So when we hear the word issue, what comes to our mind? Issue එකක් කියපු ගමන් එන්න හිතන්නේ මොකද්ද? issue එකක් කියුවාම යන්නෝ ඒක නෑ නිදිමතයි වගේ ඉඳලා බෑ. මම මේක ඕෆ් කරලා ලියනවා බෝඩ් එකේ. ඒ නැත්නම් ඉස්සරහට එන්න මෙතන තියනවා ගොඩක් ඉඳ. මේකෙන් මේක ඕෆ් කරන්නේ. අර දාලා බලන්න. පොඩි ළමයි බෝඩ් එකේ ලයිට් එක මොකද දාන්න එළියට Okay. Right. Right. When we hear the word issue, what comes to your mind? Issue normally students get the idea of a problem. But issue is not always a problem. It may be a kind of opportunity at cases, right? So here the issue is maybe a success story, maybe a problem. Okay, right. Why I'm telling so, in some other cases, you don't have a problem. It's all about an opportunity or a success story. Then successful implementation of an ERP system. If the story is about that, the issue of that case is that implementation of ERP. It's not a problem. So please keep in that your mind. So issue is not always problem. It may be an opportunity that is taken by the company or the success story of the company. Okay, so we first study the business and then we identify the issue and then specify alternative courses of action. We found the issue and then we have to specify alternatives. And to specify alternatives, we should have an idea about alternatives. මේවා කියන්න නම් ඔයාලට කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ දේවල් තමයි කරන්න කියලා. මේ දේවල් අපි දැනගන්න. This is where this case link to particular lesson or any of the concept you study or any of the knowledge area. මෙතන තමයි මේක ලික් වෙන්නේ. අපේ knowledge එක ගන්නේ when this third stage එකේ. හරි? එතකොට maybe it's about a successful implementation or the failure of implementing an ERP system. So then we have to come up with some proposals. So we may be proposing them to analyze organizational factors, analyze managerial factors, technical factors, and so on. So this is where we add our knowledge. Evaluate each courses of action. If we come up with, say for example, 3 alternatives, we have to evaluate each of them separately. So this, by comparing one by one, we may evaluate. That means you have to read the information given at the case study very carefully. In most of the cases, they talk about the financial situation and other organizational, managerial, managerial strengths of the organization. Think of them and then relate that information and compare and contrast the alternatives that you propose. And finally, you have to recommend the best course of action. Ultimately, option 2, I recommend this one because of this here. You have to justify the answer by giving facts from the case. Case එකෙන් මොනවා හරි කියලා ඔක justify කරන්න ඕනේ. මෙතනදී so a brief explanation is given here. First thing is you have to read the case, then you have to identify the issue, So then you have to identify alternative causes of actions and evaluate and finally recommend. Right? And this is the good thing about case study analysis. There is no any specific right answer. So we know students afraid of having cases for examination papers. But from the side of students, it is the kind of bonus question. Because there's no any specific answer for case studies. If you come up with your own answer, supporting facts with relevant to lesson and justify your recommendation, then that is the correct answer. ඒ නිසා මේ cases සාමාන්‍ය case එකක් මේ විදිහට තමයි analyze කරන්නේ. And the good thing here is when you get the case study, normally case study questions are written in that way. In these kind of mini cases, when you get a case study and the questions, if you read carefully all these cases, these questions are in the order of this flow. Then step by step, when you're answering questions, you are solving this case study. So here also, see, this is case 1. What kind of applications are described here? What business functions do they support? How do they improve professional efficiency and decision making? It's all about business. So when you provide the answer for this question 1, you get the understanding about this business. පළවෙනි ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ මේගොල්ලන්ගේ business එක ගැන. And then you go to the second question, identify the problems that businesses in this case study solved by using digital devices. That's about the issue. So they have had a problem and using digital devices, they have solved it. So that is the issue discussed by this case study. Then, what kind of businesses are most likely to benefit from equipping their employees with mobile digital devices such as iPhones and iPads? So, what kind of businesses? You have to discuss and come up with some alternatives. Then, you have to finally decide. One company deploying iPhones has said the iPhone is not a game changer, it's an industry changer. It changes the way that you cannot interact with your customers and with your supplier. Discuss the implications of this statement. So it's about analyzing this case, specifically giving attention to one particular area. So they are talking about this particular incident and you have to discuss it. But anyway, when you come to this level, you have already gone to the case and analyzed it. And you know the solution that they have given, and it's about the success story, as I understand. I did not read it. By the questions I understand, it's about a kind of opportunity the company has taken, and it's about a kind of success story. So you have to justify this one. මේක තමයි කළා දෙන්නේ ඒක මෙහෙමයි ඒක හොඳයි කියලා අර කේස් එකෙම ෆැක්ට්ස් අරගෙන you have to support their answer. And if you find some related concepts and in knowledge area, you can support these parts, question 2, 3, and 4, with that knowledge. Okay, so that's how normally we analyze a mini case study. When you get a case for an examination paper or for this kind of assignment, that way please analyze. You can read more or additional information. It's okay. And please give the list of references at the end. That is needed. Fine. So that's about your group assignment and how to analyze a case study. We go to the lesson today. So without a break, I will continue. So once we complete the concept. Our lesson today is social and ethical issues in information system. Okay. Now you have to switch off the light. Right. So we use different technologies and we need to use different to work with example. Okay. Right. So we use different technology. We have a smartphone in our hand and we use computers. We have access to different online platforms. We have number of logins. We have registered for number of sites. Even we can't remember the password. And the e-commerce sites වලට register වෙලා තියෙනවා. Subscribe කරලා තියෙනවා different journals වලට ගොඩාක් අපි තියෙනවා. They have already engaged with these technologies and systems. So this is one of the most important lessons that you have to learn because it's all about ethical and social issues that we face with the use of these technologies and mainly information systems. So this is one of the areas that we don't think of, even though we use technology. අපි එච්චර හිතන්නේ නැහැ. අපි පාවිච්චි කරන අනිත් අපි මේ පැත්ත ගැන එච්චර හිතන්නේ. But it is something must, right? Okay. What is this? Read this one. Do you understand? What it says? There is no right way to do the wrong. Do you agree? Remember that? Are there any ways? Are there any right ways to wrong things? So this is the basic principle. That as humans, we have to always keep this thing in our mind. Maybe that we live in whatever the society, maybe we live in the digitalized environment, or maybe not. So there is no right way to do the wrong thing. So it applies to all. Okay. So this lesson is about that. These are our learning objectives. Ethics. Ethics. So my first question, are you ethical? Now ask yourself, am I ethical? What do you mean by ethics? Ethics. So this is the technical definition. Moral principles that govern a person's behavior or conducting of an activity. Moral means, say good principles, positive things, good things. Okay. Think of yourself. Are you ethical? You know if you are ethical or not. So maybe even you don't know whether you are ethical or not, but you can decide and have an understanding about yourself if you think of these kind of situations. In our life, we face some of the ethical dilemmas. කියලා කියන්නේ අපි ඒක කරනවාද නැත්ද? මම මේ වැඩේ කරනවාද නැත්ද? ඔය අර ඒ පැත්තට ගන්නවා මේ පැත්තට ගන්නවා. අපිට තීරණයක් ගන්න වෙනවා. Ethical, then ඒ වගේ non-ethical dilemmas we find when we make decisions, whether I go for this decision or the other one. But when it comes to ethical behaviors, something relates with ethics, we face these kind of ethical dilemmas. in your life you may have faced ethically. Okay, one example you see. In midnight, say you drive your car and you come to a color light and no vehicles on the road. Soon you come to the color light here, the red light comes. Then මෙතන සැදගෙන එනවා. මෙතෙන්ට එද්දිම සතු පාට ලයිට් එකක් වැටෙනවා. හොල්මනක් හරි අර ස්විච් එක ඔබලා ගන්නවා. එතකොට දැන් එක වාහනයක්වත් නැහැ. යනවද නැද්ද? නවත්තනවද වාහනේ යනවද? යනවද නවත්තනවද කාර් එක රතු ලයිට් එක වැටෙනවා. රතු ලයිට් එක වැටෙනවා වල ස්විච් කරනවා. නවත්තනවද? යනවා. That's about it. Okay, maybe that there's no harm that we can justify that yourself. You have to think. You may justify, right? You have very much our thinking. So those are dilemmas. But your heart, your soul tell you whether go up or stop. That's the one question. That is like a weapon. Mom, යනවද නැත්ද කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ කොහොමද හිත අහනවා නේද? අනිවාර්යෙන් අහනවා. දැන් ආවද කියලා කවුරුත් එලෙන්න ඔලුවට කිව්වා මම ආවද කියලා. ඒ වගේ තියෙනවා අවස්ථා. ethical මිනිස්සුන්ව සම්බන්ධ දේවල් වලට එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ඇති ඕනතරම් experience. මම එහෙම කරන්නේ පැහැදිලි කරන්න දෙපන්නේ හිතෙනවා කියනවා. So those are ethical dilemmas. So ethics are simply moral principles that govern a person's behavior. So if you have good principles that govern yourself, then you are an ethical man. This comes with the family, and this comes with the culture, and this comes with the environment that you grow. So it's not just you become an ethical man. You should know about good things and bad things. Since you are a child, you grow up. If you grow up at an ethically or morally governed environment, then you become a good man, right? With good ethics. Principles of rights and wrongs that individuals acting as a free moral agent. This word is important. Each of these individuals are different and they are free moral agents. නිදහස් හොඳ මිනිස්සු අරි නියෝජිතයෝ කියලා හිතන්නකො එකිනෙකාට වෙනස් එකම පවුලේ but they have different levels when it comes to ethics. වෙනස්නේ free moral agent. Maybe that my parents are really good and they are very ethical, but the son may not because he is a free moral agent. Used to make choices to guide their behavior. So these guides our behavior. It makes the person who you are and what you do. So these become sometimes our basic human needs, like being fair, being honest, right? So we always expect to be honest. We expect my friends and my colleagues will be honest. Assuming that we make relationship. We assume my parents are honest to me. You assume that your partner is honest to you. Those are the principles that govern the behavior. And every employee desires to be such himself and to work for an organization that is fair and ethical in its practices. So you join the company and you think that it's also like that. So you know about yourself. If you are ethical, And you assume that they will also like that. And the company itself, they also expect that we hire an ethical man. So these are some of the examples for social ethical behaviors. See whether you are doing these things. These are the social ethical behaviors. So we have not yet come to the systems and technology. So these are some of the social ethical behavior. Respect for another's privacy. Right? If you have good understanding about these things, you can understand the rest easily. See whether you are an ethical man or not. Do you respect the privacy of your colleagues, the people that you associate with? Respect for another's property. We have to respect the property of the university. So these are, yes, it's true that we pay, but we have to protect them. And we use free goods given by the government, but we have to protect them. Somebody has paid for it, even though we use it free of charge. And refraining from violence against others. We should not go for, violence and all. ඒකනේ දැන් රණ්ඩුවක් යන්න කියනවා කවුරු හරි මැදට කනලා ඒක නවත්තනවා. So they are ethical people. නේද? රණ්ඩුවක් යන්න තින්නාම එතෙන්ට කනලා අනිත් අයට ගහනවා නම් they are not ethical people. නේද? ඕගලන් දැන් පොඩි කාලේ දැන් කාලේ හිතන්නකො පොඩි කාලේ සමහරට වලියක් යනකොට ඇයි කියලා ගිහින් සමහරට දාන්නේ නැත්නම් සපෝට් කරනවා නේ. දැන් එහෙම නැහැ. Now we are grown now. ඈතින් නම් හරි බලනවා මේ මොකක්ද කියලා. So, treating others with civility, promise keeping. This is also an ethical behavior. Keep in your words that you will certainly do something. If somebody tells you something, if you agree that you will keep it as a promise, you have to do it. So then you are not ethical. Prudence, doing something right because it is the right thing to do. Yes. Punctuality. It is also one of the ethical behavior. Maybe some of you do not have. So adherence to the exact time of the commitment. So there are a lot, right? So I found a very good article. That's why I added the link here. When you are free, please go and read this article. And when you see the list, you will be afraid. Mom, කොච්චරක් තියනවාද කියලා හිතෙමි බලන්නකො. මේවා ඔක්කොම මිනිස්සෙක්ට තියෙන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා හිතේ. So these are the ethical, moral compasses. Moral values in everyday life. Moral values list එකක්ම තියෙනවා. You see? Even we can't understand some of them, but there's a list. It's not easy to be a good person. Maybe that we are already, but we don't know about these. අපි ගාව මේව දැනටම භාගයට භාගයක් තියෙනවා. But it's good to know what they are. So please read this when you are free. නින්දයන් නැති වෙලාවට කලින් නිදා ගන්න කොහොම හරි නිදියා ගන්න ඕන නම් වගේ මේ වගේම කියවන්න. ඕපන් කරු ගා නින්දයයි. ඕගලන්ට එහෙම ප්‍රශ්නක් ඇතිද? Why this is important? Why ethical behaviors are important? We are talking about ethics and ethical people, good people. Do you like to be with good people? කැමතිද? අපි එහෙමද කැමති? නැත්නම් හොඳ වුණත් එකයි නරක කමක් නැද? No, we always prefer to be with ethical people, good people. Why? So it gives us the comfort. නේද? බය නැහැ ඉන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් you are stressful. කොයි වෙලාවෙ මොකක් වෙයිද දන්නේ නැහැ. කොහොමද ප්‍රශ්නයකට අහු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Make society better. Yes. If the society consists with ethical people, it is obviously a better place to live because the things what discussed previously is already there. The respect to others and the respect to privacy and all the good behaviors are there. So the society gets better and treat everyone equally. If you have those ethical values with you and secure meaningful employment. So in the case of employment, when you go to join with the company, at the interview, what they ask, before the interview, you have to put a CV and with 2 non-related referees. Why you give the numbers and contact details of referees? You let them ask and check who you are. That is the purpose. So we give the numbers of referees. So normally they call. දැන් අපේ නම් දැම්මොත් එහෙම කෝල් කරලා අහනවා මේ ළමයා දන්නවද එයා හොඳයිද එයාගේ හැසිරීම කොහොමද හතෙන් 10න් කීයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද so they ask so the CVs that you put the names of referees they will definitely call අනිවාර්යයෙන් කතා කරනවා දැන් නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන් කතා කරන්න ඒගොල්ලෝ හරි so then ඒකට කවුරුත් දන්නේ නැති එකක් වැඩ කරන්න නැති නම්බර් එකක් ඒව දාන්න කාටද referee කරන්නේ අනිවාර්යයෙන් you have to give known persons have very good ethics. So what is the purpose? That is to find a meaningful employment. So even the company check the history of the employee. They want to know whether this person is a good man. Then they got to connect. On the history of the connector. They will check that. They will interview you. You will tell about yourself. But other than that, they ask persons that you know and to know yourself and check. So then the company secure and also from the individual side, you can secure meaningful employment if you are having an ethical behavior. On the connect now. Succeed at businesses, yes, always. We know when it comes to business ethics, it's huge, and there are a lot of stories, and even businesses with different strategies try to market their products, and sometimes we see that those are not ethical. Then සමහර advertisement දකිද්දී සමහර campaign යනකොට මේවා ethical ද කියලා හිතනවා. So but for a successful business, if you want to continue doing your business and to sustain in the market, obviously, of course, you have to go with ethics and listen stress. Yes, that's true. As I asked you previously, if we are there with ethical group of people, comparatively less stress. එහෙම නැත්නම් කොයි වෙලේ ගහයිද දන්නේ නැහැ කොයි වෙලේ මොකක් හරි කරයිද දන්නේ නැහැ ඒ වගේ කට්ටියක් ගාව ඉන්නකොට හැම වෙලේම stress. Even a company that you join, we are talking about culture of the company. So that is one of the very serious things even I experienced in my life. The culture of the company matters and it hugely impacts your mentality. Then when you go to a company, maybe that you get a very good salary, but before joining the company, ask somebody there and get to know about the culture of the company. There are some companies, they have very good culture. So it's very stress-free. You can do your work well and that's good for the company and also to yourself. But there are some very stressful. එහෙම තියනවා ළම. ඒ නිසා අනිවාර්යෙන් ඔයගොල්ලන් බලන්න ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මොන වගේ කල්චර් එකක්ද තියෙන්නේ කියලා. එහෙම make ethics එකත් link වෙනවා and also the way that the organizations work. Anyway, if ethical behaviors are there, if the people at the organizations are ethical and they are posing very good moral values, then it will be a stress-free organization. Because you can trust them, the loyalty is there. Okay, so what do you mean by business ethics? The moral principles and policies and values that govern the way businesses and individuals engage in business activities. So far, we discussed about individuals, and similarly, for organizations, they too should have these moral principles for their businesses. And when they engage with business activities, they have to think of them. These are some of the business ethics. So previously, we were talking about individual ethics, personal ethics, social ethics. When it comes to business ethics, trust is definitely there. And then responsibility. The business, if you take the responsibility, you have to take, right? And then the behavior of the people within the organization. And then principles that govern the organization. What are your principles? That is key actually. Key means those are the basics of core of the organization, principles, and how they manage relationships with each other. And the choices simply how you make decisions, how you prioritize yourself. So there are some companies, they prioritize and they give priority to human values. And there are some, they prioritize work. Some prioritize the output. Human සමහර කම්පැනි තියෙනවා අක්ුණත් කමන්නේ ලෙඩුණත් කමන්නේ අම්මා මරුණත් කමන්නේ වැඩි වෙන්න ඕන. එහෙම ඒවා. සමහර තියෙනවා if it is a personal man, that's okay, you go and take care of child and your parent and we will manage this one. So the choice. Then reliability, how relevant it is, and morality, that means how good that you make decisions. On the path the radical and the path the radical again. So these are some of the business ethics. These are also some of the business ethics. Fairness, we have to be fair for everybody. We should not prioritize and be specific for one particular set of groups or employees. You have to be fair and you have to respect others. And then you have to be honest, you have to be accountable and loyal, and the integrity. Integrity is the combination of all these things. So even there is somebody to look at you or not, you do right thing. Then ඒවගේ සමහර මිනිස්සු එහෙම ඉන්නවා. එයාව බලන්න කෙනෙක් නැහැ. කවුරුත් ඉතියත් එකයි නැතත් එකයි. එයාට හරි දේ තමයි කරන්නේ. එහෙනම් හරි සාධාරණ මිනිස්සෙක් කියලා එහෙම මිනිස්සු ඉන්නවා. නේ? So integrity is the combination of all these qualities, right? Okay. Fine. Now we move towards the second part of the lesson, that is about information systems and ethics. Okay. So what you think? So we'll take the term technology and ethics. Information systems raise new ethical questions. Is that so? Assume that when new technological introduction is there, what happens? Because they create opportunities for intense social change, threatening existing distribution of power, money, right, and obligations. Or a new kind of crimes can emerge. Yes, obviously, that happens. So what happens here, this is nicely explained in this textbook by Loudon. They say IT or the introduction of new technology is something like this. Assume that there is a pond. So this is a pond, right? So at the pond, how do you see the water? Pond at the sea, you know how the water is. Mundaka කොහමද? රැලිදානවනේ. පොකුණක කොහමද තියෙන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන්? ඇවිල්ලා ඒක පාම්බ කෙල්ලෙන් නැතුවනේ තියෙන්නේ pond එකක. So they say, assume the society as calm pond and IT as a rock into pond. Then what happens? ගලක් ගහපු ගමන් වතුර හැලක් වෙනවා නේ. So it creates ripples of new situations not covered by all rules. It says ගල ගහපු ගමන් මෙහෙම මේක දාලා ripples රැලි හැදෙනවා. මේක කැළඹෙනවා. So the researcher also says introduction to new technology to the society is also like that. ඉතින් මෙහෙම ඉන්නවා ඒකට ගලක් ගැහුවා වගේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. So we are there and new smartphones came into the society. So created number of ripples. ඒක ඒව වෙනවා. ඒව දැන් වෙන්නේ ගල් ගොඩක් එකවර ගහනවා. ඒක ගලක් ගහලා ඒක මේවා වෙන කලින් දැන් with the latest technologies we find different things. So the thing is social and political and creating ripples of new situations not covered by all rules. So at the society, there are rules set. If something happened, if bad thing happened, those will be treated like this. එන්නට මේ වගේ අලුත් දෙයක් වුණාම ඒකෙන් මොනවා හරි harmful දෙයක් වුණොත් මොකක්ද කරන්නේ කියන රූල් එකක් හැදෙන්න කාලයක් යනවා. That's why it says that these situations are not covered by all rules because they are new. Social and political institutions cannot respond overnight to these rules. It may take years to develop ethical expectations and laws. Requires understanding of ethics to make choices in legally gray areas. Yes, still we have due to technology, there are a lot of good things and bad things happen, but rules and regulations and policies to solve these problems are still lacking. But now some of the rules are being passed by the government, but still there are some legally gray areas to be examined and come up with some governing policies to address them. So that's why ethics are really important. If people are not ethical, then the society faces problems. Simply if I explain it in this way, මොකක් හරි ගැටලුවක් ඇති වුණාම ඒක පාලනය කරන්න විදියක් නැති වෙලාවක ඒක අපිට පාලනය කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ මේ ethical behavior එකෙන් තමයි. ඒක තමයි මේ කියන්නේ. IT systems එනවා, technologies එනවා. නමුත් මේ වාගෙන් ඇතිවන නරක දේ control කරන්න rules නැති වෙලාවක ethics become very important. So as a society, we have to be very ethical and face the situations until the rules comes into the play. So there are 5 main aspects which government and societies have to think of when it comes to this information technology and ethics. First thing is property, information rights and obligations. Information rights and obligations. It's all about information. So we are living in a society where we have a lot of information and there are a lot of rights and obligations relating to this one. We will discuss accountability and control, property rights and obligations. So day by day, new properties are coming. The patent, so we will talk about patents and all. And that aspect is also important, and the quality of the systems that we are using and quality of life. What happens to individuals' life with these technological changes. Individuals' life are also impacted. So there are 5 main ethical aspects. These are those 5 main ethical aspects. You have to remember these 5. 5 ethical dimensions of information age. Or these are the main areas that companies and individuals have to understand when they are working with information systems. Ethical dimensions. Whether you are ethical or not, කියන මනින ප්‍රධාන කාරණා 5 තමයි මේවා. තාක්ෂණයත් එක්ක වැඩ කරලා. ආයතනයක් වුණත්, පුද්ගලයෙක් වුණත් මේ 5 ගැන සැලකිලිමත් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Okay, these are some of the key trends that create ethical issues. What are the main trends with latest technologies? What are the trends? Doubling of computer power every 18 months. Fast access to information and the power of computers are rapidly increasing. More organizations depend on computer systems for critical operations. Yes. So organizations, now we discussed about automation and digitalization. So organizations automate and core business functions goes with this digitalized business environment. But time to time, they get upgrades and new versions of them. So they have to face them. So it becomes a challenge for organizations. Simply coming new versions of softwares and requirements of upgrading existing softwares. As the computer power enhances, new versions of softwares are coming. So it is challenge for an organization to move forward. And rapidly declining data storage costs. So now it's almost zero. Where you save your data? Where you save your data now? Do you have a pen drive? Or do you have hard disk or whatever? No, now we save everything at our drive, Google Drive or OneDrive. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට දැන් අපි එහෙම data store කරගන්න වෙන devices පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ නැහැ. So we save them at cloud. It's freely available. As I know, 15 GB වගේ තියෙනවා නේද? Google Drive එකේ තියෙනවා, OneDrive එකේ තියෙනවා 15 and 30. So you can store everything there. And if you need further storage, you can subscribe and then you can get additional storage. So likewise, it has become now zero. And I can remember those days when we purchased this kind of pen drives, those are thousands of rupees. ගොඩක් ගණන්. දැනුත් එහෙම වෙන්නේ සමහර කියලා තිබුණා. 3,000ක් වගේ ඉස්සර pen drive එකක්. But now 1 GB ඉස්සර 1 GB කිව්වා. එහෙම නෙවෙයි 2 GB කියලා. But now without money, we can save our data. Networking advances and the internet. Data everywhere, yes. So day by day, and internet is advancing and also the accessibility is also advancing. Wherever you are, you can access internet and access to data. Advances in data analysis techniques, yes, correct. So now, organizations work with big data. Big data means massive amount of data. When we take a supermarket, when we take a bank, whatever the organization, now the data is big. Individuals cannot analyze those data. Supermarket data ගත්තා, bank data ගත්තා, සාමාන්‍ය කඩේක data ගත්තා, මිනිස්සෙක්ට ඕවා දැන් පොතක ලියලා analyze කරන්න බෑ. Those are huge amount of data. So we have software, so analytical tools to analyze. But with the analytical tools and technologies now we have, the task is now not that difficult. So now we have softwares for profiling purposes. Profiling means taking information from different places. We can create profiles of individuals. Combining data from multiple sources to create dossiers or the records of details, information on individuals. This is a kind of data mining. Say, for example, now if we take your ID number and an individual's ID number, we can collect a lot of information about that individual. Because by your ID number, you may register with number of organizations. Since the place that you registered, since your birth, and thereafter maybe motor vehicle registration and maybe insurance, maybe banks, and with the supermarkets, whatever. So your information is there, but by taking that number, if the government want to have or profile your information, they can have that. So that is called profiling. And non-obvious relationship awareness, this is also something like that. And this support for governments and polices to find criminals and terrorists. This happens even in Sri Lanka. They do this, right? And mobile device growth, that's obvious, right? So day by day, new versions of mobile devices coming. So these are the technological trends. If you get a question at the examination paper, what are the technological trends that raise ethical issues? Yeah, you have to think of these things. Power of the computing increases, data storage cost goes down, and networking and internet is advancing. The advancing data analysis techniques and the growth of technological devices. This slide also gives the explanation of the same. Okay, this image gives you the understanding about that NORA, right? NORA is the non-obvious relationship awareness. Maybe in number of databases, information about that person is there. And this software collect all these information and analyze them. Analyze buying behaviors, analyze his communication patterns. Then if they find that that person is something, to be monitored, messages given to the particular agencies. එයාගේ ගන්නවා අර දැන් හිතන්න මොකක් හරි අවුච්ච ගමන් ෆෝන් එක අරගෙන ඒකෙන් හොයනවා කියලා කියන්නේ එයා පාඩක කතා කරලා තියෙන කොහෙටද ගිහිල්ලා තියෙන ලොකේෂන් ට්‍රැකින් ඔය ඔක්කොම කරනවා කරලා ඒ අවශ්‍ය අයට තොරතුරු ලබා දෙනවා. So watch list එක incident and arrest system policy වලින් reports ගන්නවා transaction system telephone records and all. So these are the basic principles of and concepts of ethical analysis. Responsibility, we have to be responsible, accountable, liable, and we have to take the responsibility. Responsibility of, accepting all the duties and obligations. And accountability, liability, and due process means if something happens, if any ethical, ethical issue happens, what you have to do is to be known. That is called as due process. Yes, this is also you have to understand, even not for business purpose, but for your personal decision-making purpose. Whenever this will be useful for you, even one, you may help your friends to come up with their issues. There are few steps when you solve an ethical problem. You will become manager one day. So manager means at whatever the function, you may be a leader. So you may find different ethical dilemmas, ethical cases to be solved. Complaints. Complaints කරනවා කියන්නේ කවුරු හරි ඇවිල්ලා අනේ මැඩම් මෙහෙම වුණා මෙහෙම කරා කියලා කියනවා. සර් මෙහෙම වුණා බලන්නකෝ මම හරි නේද එහෙම කියලා අහනවානේ. ඔය වගේ දේවල් ඕන තරම් ඔයගලන්ට අනාගතේදී මුහුණ දෙන්න වෙයි. If you face that kind of problem, how do you solve this one? If it's more towards ethical issue, you can solve it technically. ඒ කියන්නේ the business එකක් addiction එකක් ගන්නවා වගේ ඒක විසඳන්න බෑ. If it affects the moral values of a person. මනුස්සයෙක්ගේ ethical values වලට හානියක් වෙලා තියෙන තැනක business decision එකක් ගන්න බෑ. You have to think up ethically and solve that issue. So how do you solve that kind of issue? You have to identify and clearly describe the facts. ප්‍රශ්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා you have to identify properly. You have to listen carefully and you have to collect some additional facts. You should not be panicked. You have to wait and listen and study. Define the conflict of dilemma and identify the higher order values involved. You have to identify the conflict. What has happened and what are the higher order values involved? What are the higher order values that affect them? Higher order values means privacy, what else? Protection. What else? खाली कथा कराने the values list එක උඩ තිබ්බනේ. Loyalty, privacy, likewise high order values. We discussed about values, right? Let me show you. Didn't I show you the values? Loyalty, privacy, those are the values, higher order values. Honesty, likewise, you have to identify what kind of higher order value is being affected with this situation. Right? Then identify the stakeholders who are the related parties. Identify the options that you can reasonably take. Compromise. That means you have to think of alternative actions that you can take. Right? Considering both parties and then identify the potential consequences of your options. What if I choose this option consistently over the time? So before you take a solution, you have to always think, can I take this again and again? You can මෙයාට විතරක් ඒ උත්තරේ වෙන්න බෑ. You have to be fair. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක තමයි. When you make a decision, that should be very ethical and fair and accepted by both parties. So if the person who make the decision is not ethical, then that becomes the problem, right? So that's why this is given as the rules of or the steps of ethical analysis. And also, when you make the decision, there are a number of rules. You have to follow these rules and principles. The first one is golden rule. What is the golden rule? See whether you have the golden rule of these ethical principles. When you make ethical decisions, you have to follow these principles. Golden rules. What is that? You should treat others the same way you would want to be treated yourself. So when you make an ethical decision, you have to think of simply assuming that if it happens to yourself, එහෙම වුණා නම් මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා හිතන්න ඕන. මේ වගේ තීරණයක් ගන්නකොට මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ මට වුණා. මම මොකද්ද කරන්නේ කියලා. මම ගන්න දේ මොකද කියලා. මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවානේ මට මිනිස්සු සලකන්න ඕන විදියක්. ඒ විදියට තමයි අනිත් මිනිස්සු කියලා හිතනවා. ඔයා කැමති මෙතන කියන්නේ ඔයාට මිනිස්සු කරනවාට කැමති නැති දෙයක් ඔයා කිසි වෙලාවක අනිත් මනුස්සයට කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ. කරන්න එපා. එහෙම කරන්න බෑ කියන්නේ. You should treat others the same way you would want to be treated yourself. ඔයාට සලකන්න ඕනේ කියලා හිතන විදියට තමයි අනිත් මිනිස්සුන්ටත් ඔයා සලකන්න ඕනේ. Then second one, Immanuel Kant's categorical imperative. Just forget about this name if it's difficult to remember, but get the meaning of the principle. If an action is not right for everyone to take, it is not right for anyone. What is that? Say for example, we have around 40 or 35 students in his class. One person is doing something. So say for example, destroying a chair or whatever. So assume that if all do the same, what happens? Then it can put together your own answer. It's got a mood of පන්තිය මේක කරනවා කියන්නේ එතකොට disaster එකක්. It becomes a disaster and you have lost to the company. So it's not something good to do. Then it can become money විතරනේ කියලා. So those days we saw it. I don't know nowadays how about the situation. අර බස් වල යනකොට සීට් එක ඉඳලා තියෙන්නේ. නැගලා තියෙනවා බස් වල ඉඳගත්තම බස් එකේ ඉස්සරහ සීට් එක ඉරනවා නේද? එතකොට දැන් චීටි පිටපස්සට වුණා ඩ්‍රයිවර්ස් උනත් ඉස්සර එක කපලා තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අකුරු ගහලා තියෙනවා. A + B කියලා ගහනවා. X + Y කියලා ගහනවා. සමීකරණ ලියනවා. A + B කියලා කියනවා. ඊට පස්සේ තව කෙනෙක් ඒකට +C කියලා ගන්නවා. ඒ වගේ පස්සට ලියනවා. ඊට මේක එක්කෙනෙක් කරනවා. සමහරට ඔයාගේ දැන් නෑ කියනයි එහෙම කියනවා. But if all the persons who are traveling in the bus do the same, what happens? They destroy the bus. ඒක වෙන දැන් බස් වල සීට් ඉස්සර එකකවත් පිටිපස්සට ගෑවුවා නෑ. මම මතක තියෙන ඉස්සර අපි ඉස්කෝලේ යනකොට ඔය සීට් පිටි බස් වල එකකවත් අර ඊළඟ වෙලාවට තියෙන සීට් එක ඉරලා කපලා. දැන් කොහොමද දන්නේ? දැන් ප්‍රයිවට් බස් වල නම් ඒක ගන්නව ප්‍රොටෙක්ට් කරනවා. So if we accept it's okay that one person is doing this here, it becomes a disaster. ඒක ඔක්කොමලද කියලා ඒක කරන්නේ. ඒකේ මහා විනාශයක් වෙන්නේ. Then it says the principle says it is not a good thing to do. එහෙමනම් ඔක්කොමල එකතුලා කරොත් ඒක වරදක් නා ඒක කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ. කෙනෙක් කරා කියලා නෑ. Right? That is the second principle. And third principle, if an action cannot be taken repeatedly, it is not right to take at all. This is something good. If the particular action, so you do it once, so we excuse you. But you do it again and again. සැලේකට ගිහිල්ලා ගහක් කපනවා කියලා හිතන්නවා. So you cut the tree and we excuse. Okay, it's one tree. එකයිනේ කපුවේ. But if you go another day and cut another tree and again, then it's you destroy the jungle. Whether ඒක දිගින් දිගටම කරන්න එක හැලයක් විනාශ වෙනවා. Something like that. If a particular action, if one person is doing, if he do that repeatedly, if it brings something bad, that he should not be doing at least once. Because හැලයක්වත් එහෙමනම් ඒක කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ. So that is a ethical principle. Okay. Next one, utilitarian principle. Take the action that achieves the higher or greater value. When you make the decision, you have to think of the solution which brings the greatest benefit. to the your higher order values. වැඩිපුරම මේ values protect කරන decision එක තමයි ගන්න ඕනේ. So we normally do it, right? And risk aversion principle, obviously we are risk averse, so we always go for the least harmful decision. Least harm and lowest cost decision. That's normally taken by individuals. And the last one, ethical no free lunch rule. What do you mean by no free lunch? Nominate and then negative. No free lunch rule. That means assume that virtually all tangible and intangible objects are owned by someone unless there is a specific declaration otherwise. So the example that I told you at the very beginning about this free goods. So it's something relates with this no free lunch. So in your school days, you receive books from the government and uniforms from the government. So those are free of charge. Education free of charge. But there is somebody who pays for that. So that's why it says it's not something free. It's free for you. But ultimately it's not free. ඒක කවුරුත් දැන් අපිට තේරෙනවානේ. ඉස්සර අපි ඔය බතු කතන්දර ආවම මොකුත් දන්නේ නැහැ නේද? දැන් අපි දැන් මොන හරි නම් කියන අපි තමයි ගෙදර කරන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන් කැම්පස් ගාමින් කියන්නේ නේද? ගවර්න්මන්ට් යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ ගාමින් කියන අපේ බතු වලින් තමයි ඉගෙන ගන්න එහෙම කියලා කියනවා. ඒක තමයි මේ කියන්නේ. ඒක free නෑ. ඒගොල්ලන් free ඉගෙන ගත්තා it's not free. Right? They should know that it's not free. Somebody else pay for that. So they have to respectful and know the value of it. So that is the no free lunch rule. So we have to take care of this one. When we use public goods, free goods, and we always have to think of there's no free lunch. There is somebody who suffer for this. Okay, so these are the rules. When you make an ethical decision, you have to take care of these principles as well. Okay, before going to these dimensions separately, I will take a 5 minutes water break. So if you need to go to washroom and drink some water, please have it and we'll start, right? Within 5 minutes, I will start that. Oh, no, thank you. Oh, I see. No, I have that. That I'm not playing. I didn't say the meaning. Thank you, everyone. Discuss around technology management. That I can learn some of the other then I think background and technology management. Oh, the fundamental details, but the speaking to finance. Yes, my aspect more to more management. Because what happened like the oh, basic table and then for technology management. Maybe P and P. Oh, IT degree, someone ever the MIT and with them then degree. IT faculty is you take up degree now. Yeah, make it is the oh, I don't make up the master Srilanka. It doesn't want to take a lot. I don't know. I got to Ramati, we will want to get one. I don't think I did ERP whether වැඩ කරන්න එහෙම යන්න. ඒක ගන්න experience එකනේ. comes training එක විදියට නැතුව IT company consultant කෙරේ යන පාත් එකේ ජොයින් කරනවා. ඒක නම් ERP ඒ වගේ තියෙනවානේ. business analyst කෙනෙක් විදියට. හරි එන්නේ වෙනවා. ඒක වගේ දෙයක් පුළුවන්. Because they are getting me lecturers oh, temporary assistant public ඉගෙන academic ඉගෙන වාගේ knowledge presentations dan nowadays first class
Hello, Miss. Hello. We cannot hear anything.
You have to be very ethical. It's really important. There are no rules and regulations for each and every of these situations. But it harms the higher order of somehow you don't care. It's not serious to yourself. I think it's not your problem. That's not about principle. Then අපි කතා කරන්නේ අර moral principles. If you do not want you to be that, you should think of the others in similar way. ඔයා කැමති නැත්නම් ඔයාට ආපු මැසේජ් එකක් හරි ඔයාට ආපු මැසේජ් එකක් හරි තව කෙනෙක් එක දකින්නට store the others and cannot let it down. So please apply. These are not only for business organizations. As we are working with these technologies and social media platforms and all, we have to take care of. And if it's something very serious, something very sensitive, please make a call and discuss. Call එක කරලා කතා කරන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් personally හම්බෙලා කතා කරන්න. Even now call recordings are also there, but still you have to be very serious and take care of. Okay, but if you are ethical, no problem. If genetically or if by behavior you are ethical, you can govern yourself. Then I ask you to be an ethical man. Then you know about yourself. Your history is clear. එතකොට කොයි වෙලාවක මගේ කිසිම දෙයක් වෙන්න විදියක් නැහැ කියලා දන්නවා. ඒකත් මම මේ දේවල් කරන්නේ නැති නිසා. ඒ වුණාට මම මේ වෙලාව යවුවද දන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම කරාද දන්නේ නැහැ වගේම it's really stressful. That's why I told that if there's no ethics, it becomes a huge stress for that individual. වැරදි දෙයක් කරොත් නම් ඒක හැම වෙලේම ඔළුවේ වැඩ කරනවා ළමයි. So be ethical. Right. Okay, as time passes, we'll go quickly. And these internet challenges, I think we have a kind of idea and also we may find later, right? When we work with internets, there are a lot of cookies that we find. And web beacons are there, spyware. When we open emails, there are a lot of advertisements are there. We don't know how we got these advertisements. Maybe it is due to one of your earlier attempt to access one of the sites. Then you get this one. And these kind of cookies. So when you access something, at the next time when you try to log into particular site, you get number of similar things. Because they capture your online behavior and come up with the similar options. So these are actually challenges. So we have to use virus guards and email encryptions and other private browsing. These kind of solutions to face or reduce these kind of online threats. We have a separate lesson regarding these threats and how we can mitigate those threats. So I will discuss that part later, right? And the other thing is property rights. As now lot of properties comes as softwares and digital assets, this intellectual property rights become very serious. Maybe a kind of software that is your property, maybe a kind of digital asset that is your property. So there is a high chance of stealing that one and also copying that one. Therefore, individuals can take trade secrets, copyrights and patents depending on their right property they have, right? If it relates with a kind of, formula or any business innovation, you can ask for a trade secret and take it for your property. And if it's regarding a book or something, you can take a copyright. And or if it's relating to kind of invention, you can have a patent. Otherwise, the people will copy and steal your property. And As lot of assets and properties are now digital, there is a separate threat. As I told you just now, easy of replications. There's a high chance of copying them. If they get the access to your personal computer, they may copy it. And then again, they can easily replicate it and share. And easy of transmission. Difficulty of classifying software, compactness, and difficulties of establishing uniquenesses, right? So there are a lot of challenges with these kind of technological properties. And this is the other dimension: who is accountable, who is liable, right? When it comes to a computer-related problem, who is responsible? We find these kind of issues. If something happens, to whom we complain? And the quality of the systems we have to ensure. And so the quality of the systems means we have to reduce the errors of those systems. When we implement systems, we have to, so normally companies, they purchase systems from software vendors, right? So they take care of all these guidelines, rules, and regulations. So as an organization, we should not worry about it. But by yourself, if you are working with these things, you have to take care of the quality, right? So it should not include bugs and errors, and it should not have hardware failures. So the quality of the input data should be at a good level. So those are the benchmarking criteria. So that ensure the quality of the system. If these are there, the system is quality. We say the system is quality. If always you get bugs and errors, so that is not a quality system. And finally, the last dimension is impact to the quality of life. With the use of these technologies, this is the last ethical dimension that we have to think of. So it influences the quality of life. So it threatens the balancing power of individuals, and also balancing power when it comes to an organizations. So we say that organization get flattered with the introduction of technology, but still we see decision making is centralized, or the practice is not much with the technology. තියෙන එකත් එක්ක ගැලපෙන්නේ නැහැ. And rapidity of change වෙනස් වීමත් එක්ක වෙනස් වෙන්න අමාරුයි. There are boundaries and vulnerabilities. මේ වුණොත් මොකක්ද කරන්න කියලා දන්නේ නැහැ. So there are a lot of challenges, and computer crimes and abuses are there. Employment or unemployment threats are there, right? And digital divides are there. The people who are very capable of working with technologies, they are very happy and doing it. And the other people who do not have, who have less capability, they are not happy. So there's a division among people. So that is called digital divide. Digitally, people are divided. Groups වෙනවා. ඒකට ඒක ඇවිල්ලා අර life එකට එන challenge එක. So we have to look at that ethical aspect. කොහොමද ඒකට මුහුණ දෙන්නේ? And finally, health risks. There are a lot of health risks with the use of these technologies. So this is one of the disease. Repetitive strain injury, RSI, is one of the diseases that we get with the use of these technologies. The pain felt in muscles, nerves, and tendons caused by repetitive movement and overuse. And so, think of a day that you work with a computer, and at the end of the day, you get the pain of your hand. Right? So those are the health risks. And also, what happens to your eyes? So that light is not good. Those are health risks. And also, what else? And the biggest thing is, and you get headache and all, and techno stress. So we get stress. Even when you, use your mobile phone for nearly 30 to 40 minutes, So it brings kind of, very odd feeling. I don't know. Normally I get, even if you work with your mobile phone for a long time period, it's not right? It's uncomfortable. Aggravation. So you are very stressful and you are very arrogant, impatient, and you are very fatigued. Mahansi. මේක දවසම කරපු වැඩකුත් නෑ you are very tired. So you are very lazy and you feel like not talking with anybody else. So it's a kind of very, uncomfortable behavior and you are not patient. You are very aggressive. So those are the results of techno stress. So it's good that technology help us, but there are a lot of disadvantages. So these are also some of the aspects that we have to think of. And also there are some social disparities. And even these create a lot of changes to your lives. And it impacts the relationships. It's true that it creates and strengthens relationships, but technology destroys relationships. Neither. Connections ඇදුවට ළඟ ඉන්න මිනිස්සුන්ව ඈඩ් කරනවා. ගෙදර ඉන්න අම්මලා තාත්තලාත් එක්ක කතා කරන එක අඩු කරනවා. So those are the impacts that it creates, social and ethical issues. So as individuals, we should have an understanding. That's why it says, when you find techno stress, get away from the computer, find a friend who can help you or a book that answers your questions. Do not use the phone to solve that question. So you have to change the behavior. So if you are stressed, take a break and rest your eyes. As they rest කරන්න කියලා තාපෝ phone එකෙන්ම නම් බලන්නේ video එකක් හරි මොකක් හරි එකක්. So that is useless. Right? Okay. So just to summarize what we discussed today, and we were talking about social and ethical aspects of using technology. So at the beginning, we discussed about what are ethics and ethics of individuals, and then ethics of business ethics, and then we talk about what happens to the societies when technologies come to play, and ethical principles. And then we talk about the impacts that creates to the societies and the ethical concerns that we should have with the use of information technologies and systems. Right? So please go through the lesson again, read it, and try to answer these questions. These are some discussion questions I have added. I will put the same to the LMS as well. Read the note and answer the questions. Right? So I have given you group assignment. Please start doing it. As I promised, we'll be starting from 7 onwards. Okay, right then. Thank you very much. Okay, attendance.